This is the Silver Wolf Howl. I am Angela, and today we are talking all things bodyguarding and security with Tyte Security's Brevin Pieterse. Ryan and I are out and about today, and we are chatting to Brevin from Tyte Security. Hi, Brevin. Thank you for allowing us to be here today and for letting us ask you all sorts of questions.
All right. Thank you, Angela, for inviting me. Thank you to the listeners. And I'm ready to fire away when you are. I'm a guy that goes straight to the point, so forgive me.
No problem. We are going to shoot right in there. So let's start with Tyte Security. Tell me some more about Tyte Security. When was it started? By whom? And where does this name come from?
All right. So, Tyte Security. Look, I've been in the industry for many years. And I've got a best friend up in Johannesburg, Claude Bartelson. He's been my best friend now for almost 20 years. Him being in the insurance game, I was in the security game for all the years. And, for years he's been pestering me because at some point he branched off into insurance and he started his own brokerage and he started working for himself. Humble beginnings, but nevertheless for himself, and he started earning an income. And I suppose a lot of motivation from that side. He was like, come on, man, I know you got what it takes, let's do this. From a financial point of view, you need assistance, I'll help you, but let's do it. So the idea of Tyte Security, before it was actually Tyte Security, was there for many years, I think from about 2008, 2009. So at that time I was still working and we decided, you know what, let's register a company and we'll decide from there. But now in order to register we needed a name. If you know my best friend and I and our family and friends, we are a bunch of jokesters. We laugh, we make fun of everything, And so the name, trying to get a name to register a company that was not in existence at the time, wasn't a challenge. It was just funny, We played around with a lot of stupid names. We looked at the market, the industry, what was there, trying to be different, something catchy, something short, something that will just, grab a person's imagination. And I was going to say, sadly, he came up with the word tight. So we tried to fit it in to different type protection, Tyte Security, type, that kind of thing. And, we kept it basic, Tyte Security. Once the business was registered, that was 2008, 2009, I was still working at the time, and I must say I did well in the industry, working for some of the bigger security companies. In fact, technically I only had 2 security jobs, and the 2 jobs sort of made up about 16, 17 years of my security career, or 16 years of my security career. So I was very reluctant to leave because, you get comfortable, you're being looked after. I saw myself as obviously being one of the better operators within the security industry, and that's the reason why my employers at the time, held on to me, compensated me well, looked after me. So they sort of put you in such a comfortable position that, yes, do you resign, do you start something from scratch, what do you do? And it was a rough decision. So hence the reason why it took so many years. You'll see officially Tyte Security started at the end of 2014. So from 2009 to 2014, there was a hell of a sleepless night, toss-up, should I, shouldn't I, debate, argument. And, I must say my best friend and now business partner was very supportive. He was like, you know what, take your time, you decide, no pressure. When we're ready to do this, we'll do it. Because, it's hard to go about doing something or following your dream the way you want it to go on your own. For me, it wasn't a case of I want to open a security company and then slowly build onto it. No, I wanted to open it from day one, offices, vehicles, all the compliance in place. Boom, we're here, Tyte Security is here, let's start trading. And that cost, obviously, a lot of money, because like you probably know, in security, it takes you years before you really start making ends meet, in terms of marketing and getting clients in and signing contracts. So we started officially in 2014, end of 2014, and two partners, myself included, like I indicated. The idea behind it was, we've always said prior to starting business, you know what, if I make it, I'll throw a ladder down for you. If you make it, I'll throw a ladder down for you, for each other. So we sort of had each other's backs in that regard. Coming from big families, we knew we've needed, and being the eldest males in our family, actually, we needed to do something, but we needed to do it right. And he did it first, and we started Tyte, and the agreement was, well, Tyte Security, you and I are 50-50. Let's open a insurance brokerage, and we'll be 50-50 there. And that way, we've got 100% of something, but 50% of both. You understand? So we win on both sides, And that's how Tyte Security was born. And, since then, we've just been going.
That's an interesting origin story. And I'm actually glad that he pushed you outside of your comfort zone and that you took that leap to start this business, just so that we could be here today and I could ask you all these questions. So your services, I looked at your website and saw all the services that you've got there. Obviously security related services, but also cleaning services. And for a second I thought, cleaning services, what on earth on a security company's website? But then I realized that it was COVID cleaning, so it's a specialized type of cleaning. What are the services that you guys offer at Tyte?
So to be perfectly honest, when you start a security company, you list services associated with security, but not really services that you yourself specialize in. Now, I say this tongue in cheek because the company I worked for obviously did literally everything. Being the GM before leaving, I obviously oversaw many departments, many divisions. And being in security, you sort of try and do as much as the industry allows you to do. They say a little bit of a lot equals a lot, you understand? So that was the concept, especially in the very beginning where you're trying to find your niche, you're trying to find, where your bigger bites come from. So that being said, we were very versatile. We literally marketed everything because, in the industry, they say security is security. I mean, if you know one facet of security, you know all of them. It's just one or two different maybe compliance issues, or you find the right people that are specialized in the right type of or in the right category of security. So this is why we started predominantly with guarding. So guarding as in security officers, bodies on the ground, that is the real security. That is actually what Tyte Security is about. Added to that, you have clients, or many clients actually, that want more than just a security guard standing at his gate with a baton and a radio and a register. They want technical security. They want to know that you are able to install alarms. And while we were marketing alarms in the beginning and installations thereof, we were subcontracting it to a company that specializes in it. While we marketed close protection in the very beginning, we didn't have firearms, so we couldn't do it ourselves, but we would subcontract it. The same with investigations. You'll see I at some point had investigations on my list of services, but again, it was a case of subcontracting. So you sort of, what do they say in Cape Town? You couple with the other industry leaders and I've got a contract for you, so what's in it for me? I want 5%, I want 10%, I've got this. And you try and give your client sort of a holistic security solution for his business. And that's ideally how it started. And progressively, I found that, we didn't need to subcontract it anymore because as we grew as a business, we became more proficient in more than just guarding. So we started employing our own specialized people in installations. We started developing our control room with the relevant softwares to do certain monitoring, off-site monitoring, CCTV, alarms. We started buying our own firearms, and myself coming from partly a CPO, that's close protection officer background, sort of look for like trained people. I've got the firearms, I've got the equipment, so now we do our own CPO work. And I mean, at the time, cars wasn't a problem because you got an Avis and you can hire everything and you put a mock-up and boom, Bob's your uncle. So progressively, we did that. I mean, parking attendants at shopping centers, that was a requirement because if you're doing security at a shopping center, the next thing the client asks you is, can you manage our parking areas? And like a lot of people know, parking security or parking attendants is not really in inverted commas, a security function. You'll find it's a lot of the guys working there are not CERA registered, are not security guards, officially security guards. So that there it works in reverse because instead of you paying them, they pay you for a spot on your client's premises, and they just look after certain cars, sort of like a concierge, directing vehicles, and. So that's basically how, from the beginning up until current, our services started developing. And then we found ourselves in a situation where, hey, we started now with tactical security, CPO work, which eventually led to tactical security. And then we found an area that we could really just zero in simply because, for two reasons, to be quite honest. Number one, financially, it was like extremely viable. And number two, it was a specialized service that not many companies were offering. Okay, the tactical security side of things was more born out of COVID, actually, to be honest, because I think as a country we experienced a lot of irregularities during COVID. A lot of people were working from home. People needed to know that they were safe at home, especially your higher profile clientele. CEOs of big corporates wanted CPOs, wanted tactically trained guys to assist them to escort their vehicles. The transportation industry boomed at the time because you find the only vehicles that were really running on the road were essential services, and trucking was one of them. But they also became targets because they were carrying high-value goods across provinces, and we started doing armed escorting for a lot of these kind of companies. And from there, it just carried on, and we, quite frankly, I love it personally. And that's why at this point, we're not service restricted because we as a company have grown to a point where we literally can offer any service because we, over the years, have employed people with the right type of qualifications and proficiencies and experience. Some more versatile, like myself, that can do more than one thing. And then, like I said, with tactical security came armed response. People were working from home. They wanted to feel secure in their homes. So, Brevin, do you do alarm systems? Yeah, I kind of do alarm systems, but what do you need? So we would go and start testing people's alarm systems, and we found more often than not, an alarm system is something that people don't really use. They use when they go on vacation. They don't even use it at night, believe it or not, when they're sleeping. But COVID made people very aware of their immediate surroundings and the security in which they live, their kids and their homes. And we started excelling in alarm installations, alarm repairs. And with the back end of that, we launched a armed response division. And that's generally your car that stands in the area and waits for an alarm to go off. Control room then contacts the vehicle deploys, goes to your place, checks if everything is okay. And I mean, that's just a very general approach. There's way more that goes into it. And that's where that was born. And since then, we've just been cupping on, as they say.
Well, cupping on is a good thing. So, okay, I know that you are the co-founder, co-owner of the business, but what is your role now in Tyte Security as it is right now?
I think more the question should be, is what wasn't your role? I promise you, I started from literally the bottom. I always think of Drake's song, started from the bottom, now we So literally from the very bottom. I mean, I was controller, security guard for my first few clients. From there, I employed somebody very close to me that actually worked at home, one of my domestic guys. And in that time, I registered him with Sira and sent him for his training. Because I trusted him. We had a good trust relationship for many years prior to me going on my own. So we started in security, and we literally did everything. I built myself, or as the business grew, I basically developed in terms of infrastructure. And with infrastructure, obviously, comes your different departments: administration department, control room, HR, IR department, operations. So I found that I couldn't be everywhere, and then eventually I became just the CEO of the business. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm the CEO of the business. But that being said, I've got two main branches, and that's Johannesburg and Cape Town. But at each branch, I've got branch managers that literally operate, and this is why I don't find myself so office-based as I used to be, because I've got people that are literally in the control seat of those offices that report back to me as the CEO. So as much as I call myself a CEO, I'm sort of a glorified sales rep because my main function in the business is just to look for business. And your tenders, your tender briefings, your site surveys, your client liaison, client meetings, client entertainment, So that's been my major role. And obviously the financial side of the business, which is key to manage. And yeah, that's what I'm currently doing right now.
I think everybody who started a business from nothing probably can relate to what you've just said, because you still, you kind of, you're everything, including the tea lady. I know that. I am literally still the tea lady. I actually still make muffins for my guys and meetings sometimes. So yeah, totally relate. There's a misconception that is around security. And so your company and my company, Private Investigation, in that they get mixed up with each other. People think that a security company does private investigation, private investigators do security, bodyguarding, that kind of thing. I want to talk about that and about the differences, and to hopefully clear that confusion up and make it clear that there's a distinct difference between the two businesses, even although we are part of the same industry. So what is your main function or your specialist service at Tyte Security? Let's maybe start there.
So at Tyte Security, at this point in the game, if you ask me what is our main source of revenue, I would say tactical security. What is tactical security? Well, the common misconception, it's armed response. It's not armed response. Armed response is a service that we offer. It's something that we are still fairly new at, in the sense that it's a division we started a couple of months back. We've been marketing and we've been growing quite rapidly. But it's not armed response. Specialized security is more your... It's the sector of the market that is, like I said earlier, is not common to all security companies. Why? Because number one, the kind of equipment you need to offer that service is not easy obtainable, like the different caliber of firearms as a business. The equipment, PPE that goes with that is also quite expensive. So you got to be an established company to afford those kind of operational uniforms and PPE, like bulletproof vests and body cams and tactical helmets and armadillo suits and that kind of thing. And then obviously the guys drive in specialized vehicles. I've got quite a number of, we call it Panzers, but it's fully bulletproof B6 tactical vehicles. It carries up to 8 crew members. It's, like I said, fully bulletproof. It's equipped for tactical situations. Inside the vehicle, there's dash cams, there's all the necessary equipment from ride control, shields, helmets, batons. We've got safes for shotguns that carry, that we most of the time use rubber bullets and, more ride control gear, if I can call it that. So, we've got all of that, and then obviously the most important part is having the right manpower. Now, the right manpower doesn't come cheap, because these guys, these tactically trained security officers, are for the most ex-SAPS, either public order policing or your kind of SWAT-based guys, ex-military, paramilitary, and that type of thing. So the guys are cut above the rest. They're well trained, and being well trained, obviously, it comes with a price. So they're obviously well paid. So it's not a division that you can just open tomorrow and have them standing by hoping that you get work. It's literally something you've got to plan, you've got to market properly, and you've got to roll out, when necessary. So that for now is one of our main divisions. We've got quite a lot of teams on the ground, both government and private. Your tactical security really takes care more of situations like protest action, where either government or private sector, like we saw in KZN, with all the looting, we had, I think it was 4 teams for like 2.5 months, almost 3 months, every day operating on the ground. I mean, at a stage we had to have them transported by helicopter over the N3 because of all the burning tires and that kind of things. And those are the expenses you got to prepare yourself for as a company, because when you offer tactical security, you're saying to your client, we won't stop until we give you the results. We're there to diffuse the situation, and after the situation is diffused, we're there to stabilize the area and maintain the peace within the area, irrespective of the level of risk and danger. And the level of risk and danger is, within the security industry, the highest at that point, because you're dealing with all sorts of characters. Protest action, whether it's community protest action, whether it's just basic looting, or currently we do a lot of evictions for government. We do land invasion. So we are hired to protect immovable assets belonging to certain government departments. And where there's illegal occupation, our job is to actually go into those communities, and before those structures are put up in completion, remove those structures. And as you can imagine, the community doesn't take that quite lightly. It becomes confrontational, it becomes dangerous. So you guys need to be equipped. And it's not about just, what do they say in Afrikaans, opskop en donder. It's not about that. It's about knowing how to act as a peace officer, if I can put it that, knowing the law, keeping within your legal parameters, but trying to also effect the instructions received from your clients. And there's a very thin line sometimes, but we need to maintain that always. So this is why it's so important to have the right people, the right equipment, and the right operational plan to pull that kind of work off. It's a very, very specialized division. It's not just about picking up a gun and threatening people and chase. No, it doesn't work like that. So that, in essence, I'd say right now is one of our focal points. But we've got a huge guarding division. From a retail point of view, there's quite big retailers nationally that we are doing security for in most shopping centers in the Western Cape and in Gauteng. So that's also a huge division. Casino and gaming, we've got our securities within that industry as well. And then obviously your alarm systems, your installation thereof, and your armed response. So those are our main sort of areas that we focus as a business. But we don't turn business away. If clients want a little bit more than that, currently I'm busy with artificial intelligence. It's a new division we're looking at. We are sort of partnering with, when I say partnering, not partnering per se with another company, but sort of partnering with individuals that have been in that space for many years and are quite knowledgeable and quite known in that space. So Tyte Security, within the next couple of weeks, you'll probably see it on my website, artificial intelligence would be an additional service that we'll be offering. And I mean, that's like legit real. It's there. It's all IT based. It's actually mind-blowing stuff. I think I'll leave it there until we're officially ready to launch and advertise. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay. Artificial intelligence and me, we could easily go off topic. So let me stay focused. So what you've described there is essentially security services, which is not at all what we do as private investigators. And if anyone has listened to our previous episodes where I interviewed our private investigators and things like that, you'll then be able to tell the difference between what you've described now and what we do. I mean, we currently investigating accident. We go out and find pieces of the vehicle or witnesses to an accident or whatever and piece together what happened. So our job, what we mainly do, is so different to what you've just described. I mean, we don't even come close to doing what you do. And that's really what I want to highlight in this.
I always say
thing.
The difference between my industry and yours, and I mean your industry is mine as well, because I advertise it. I'll probably phone you in the future if I've got investigation work. But I always say the difference between the two is that investigations, or proper investigations, because people get confused. Incidents happen on site and we investigate internally. We give our clients instant reports. But the kind of private investigation work that you guys do is more, I always say, reactive. Security is more proactive. Security being more an enforcement tool, whereas investigations is more a tool to uncover the truth and to get to the bottom of what happened and why and who's responsible. You understand? So with investigations, I mean, you guys probably work for a lot of different attorneys, assisting them with civil or criminal matters. It's not something we do, insurance claims and that type of thing. Now, while we are there to enforce and to prevent, you guys are there just to uncover the truth and the sequence of events and the person responsible or people responsible. So, that's in brief, I would say, the difference between the two.
Very well put. That's exactly as clear as it can possibly be, that you guys are almost before an incident, if I can put it loosely like that, and we are after the incident. So, and I'm glad that you actually highlighted the whole thing between an investigation and looking into an incident. And I'm using those terms differently so that we can clarify that, investigating an incident or looking into an incident is not doing an investigation in itself. We have lots more to talk about, and we've run out of time this week, but we will continue our conversation next week then.